Hi everybody, I'm back. We are finally ready to start laying some tracks on a module. Yippee! Anyways, it starts out, we just take our two halves of our jigs. You put one on one side like so, the other on the other side. You connect them with our latches, make sure everything's nice and snug. And then, of course, you're going to double check to make sure everything's smooth and level here. That is a necessity. Chances are, like right here, you can see I'm a little high there, but I'm perfect here. I'm perfect here. So, and I'm a little high right on this side right here. But that is the nature of wood. There's not a lot that can be done about that. So now we are ready. I've got my little 3/16 pieces here that are the same thickness of the cork, of course. And you will notice, I haven't zoomed in, but you probably can see this. It is just a smidgen high right here. So you don't ever want to change your jigs. Never, ever. If you start changing your jigs, things are going to end up messed up. So I was a little high there. So what I did was I just sanded down on the back side where, and I didn't do the cork side right here. I just did the side that's going up against the track. And then now you'll see that slides very nicely right underneath there. And it is perfectly flush on both sides right here. And we're still good with the cork. And then, just for giggles, I should have had that handy for you. Here's a good straight edge. You want to check and make sure you're nice and straight across there. That way you don't end up with a dip or a hump when you join the modules together. If you just double check like that, just a straight edge, you're good to go. And I ended up with the same thing at the other end. I ended up having to sand it down because there were just a couple of humps and bumps right here. So I sanded it down until it fit perfectly right there. And one of the things about these rail aligners that I'm using, they do stick over the plywood just a hair. So that is a good thing, I guess. Now you will notice that I do have my straight lines right here and down at the far end, so that when I put my plywood on, everything lines up. And excuse me, I accomplished that by using a nice straight piece of wood. I put one on that side, one on this side, and then I put another line in the middle, which happens to be 8 inches. That'll be the center line of the cork that's in between. Ooh, splinter. There we go. Now, if I had been smart, I would have made these pieces 6 inches. If I had done that, I could have put a 3-foot piece of cork right in the middle, and I would not have had to do any cutting. But because I wasn't smart and just used those short little pieces, which are sufficient, of course, but if I was thinking ahead, I would have accomplished something better for sure. So what I'm going to do now, put down some glue. Yeah, this wood glue always gets messed up on the tips after a while. So anyways, got my glue going. I might as well go ahead and glue this down all the way because I'll go ahead and lay the cork now too. This end is getting a little plugged up. I'm going to have to take her and clean her up some. It's taking a little longer than it should because of the fact that it is plugged up. Okay, there we are. That far. Now, we'll take this piece here and put her in here. Get her nicely lined up. I'm on my marks there. I want to keep just a wee bit of a gap on the end. Just because wood is wood, it does expand and contract. So, I'm going to nail it down. You don't have to use a nailer. You can do it by hand if you want to. Now, I'm going to double check. Make sure I'm still good right there. This side's actually down a smidgen, so we're going to fix that in a second. Get this end nailed in. Just my little bit of a gap. Just got those two playing cards that I showed you before, but I'm just eyeballing it. There we go. Now, let's check this. That one is pretty good. Let me just grab a piece here just to make sure. Okay, I see a slight difference right on this side. So there is a way I can fix that. I got just a nice little thing here. Get my hammer. Pull that up just a smidge. There we go. Yes, there you go. Now, got to do the same thing on this side. She was, yeah, she's down just a little bit right there. So I'll take my little thing, just drive it underneath, give her a little tap. There we are. Pretty nice little tool that, but you can use a really fine screwdriver too. Gotta go just a hair more. Now this gets underneath there, I can actually probably lift it up a little bit. There we go. Good. Yes, I like that. Okay. Alright, now with the glue underneath that, like I put it underneath, that will set up right there and it will stay there. So, now it's time to put some cork down. Make sure I get it on this level here. There we go. Now, to hold this, I'm just going to use thumbtacks. Got some other pieces mixed here in my tack bucket, so it just makes it a little harder to get them out. There we go. Get a couple more ready for the other side. I think what I'll do is I'll just stagger the joint, like so. Now, let's find a piece for right here. Just mark that. Oops, get back, Jack. Hey, get back, Jack. There we go. Yeah, if I had made my end pieces about 3 inches longer, I wouldn't have had to cut any. Right there. There we go. Now, a couple of tacks in here. There we go. And just that simple, we get a road bed down. Now, you see how this is moving just a little bit? So what we're going to do is we're just going to take some weight, set it on there, like that. And we double check the other side. Yeah, it's moving just a little bit too. Not going to take a lot of weight, just a little bit. A little more than that. There we are. That does her, by gosh. By gosh, by golly, that does her. So anyhow, just that simple. There's our cork down. Next time, we will put down the end pieces, line them up, put the track down, and solder up the ends, and we will have a track leg on a module. Well, we are ready for the next step. But first I'm going to have me a sip of coffee. The other day I used a phrase called coffee and model railroading, and I stole that from John Nolan of the Inspired channel. He's got a locals channel that he calls Coffee and Truth. I love that channel. If you ever want to look up your spiritual side and your higher consciousness and how it deals with everything that's going on in the world today, I recommend you looking up the Inspired channel on YouTube. But anyways, coffee and model railroading. So you will notice, I hope anyway, that I went ahead and I sanded down all the rough edges off the cork. That way when it comes time to do ballast later, you're not going to have all that cork sticking up through the rough edges. So then we've got to glue down our ends here. Let me go ahead and get some of my good Olene's glue down here. We'll put just a little on each end. There we go. Get that spread out smoothly as I can. There we are. And there we are. Now, of course, I'm going to glue the rest of this too, but this does for this part of it. Now, we're going to line up our things here. You'll see they line up really nice and tight right there. Well, I'm going to grab a nail and my hammer. Now I'm going to try to slide that back just a hair. Like I mean just a little itty bitty hair. Like in here today, the temperature in here today is about 21 degrees Celsius, which would be right around 70 Fahrenheit. And I don't have AC in the summertime, so this little itty bitty gap might help to stop some warping in the summertime. So we'll get this one down. And the only reason I'm gluing or nailing these is because these modules will get moved around a lot. Probably, I would think. And I just want to make sure we're good to go and not have things moving around now. Make sure you're good here. Oh, that's not good. I bent you. That's not good at all. There we go. There, it looks like we've got just a little bit of spacing. That looks pretty good. Now, put my hammer away. Might need that again in a bit. We'll see. Now, going to put our glue down for our track. Let's see how close that is. Looks to me like it might be wise just to do a little more right here in the center. We want to be able to set this track down into it just a little bit, just to make sure she holds really good. Now, there we are. Now, I pre-measured my track already, so I wouldn't bore you guys with that. And I took out my 3 ties on my end that will slide over both ends. Now what I do is I just set this down, like so, and I left it so there'd be just a little bit of room at each end, just a hair. Uh-oh. Alright, we're going to have to make a quick change here. There we go. Left one too many ties in. So, there we are. Now, I'm going to grab a straight edge. Run that alongside the track here. Make sure we're nice and straight the whole way. Put some tacks in. And just push these right down into the cork. Yeah, it doesn't take a lot to hold this when you're just laying a straight piece of track like this. Just double check it on this side. Now this is where I'm going to need the hammer. Just the last little bit is going to be in the plywood. Get you lined up right. Well, that tack broke pretty good. lined up good. There we go. Get you in here. I guess these aren't really thumbtacks. I guess you call these push pins. And I like them. They have a nice big flat bottom on them. So once you get them snugged down, you can still play with them just a hair and get stuff to move. Then, I always double check, eyeball that thing. How do you look? You're very good, except for right in the middle. Yes, I can see it right there. Might just put an extra tack in there, just to make sure she stays put. Double check my ends. Looking good there. Well, I don't know about you folks, but I think I can live with that. So, now all we've got to do is let that set up for a couple hours, and then we can come back and solder the ends in. Now it is time to solder these down. And the way they're sitting here right now, this one here is lined up just about perfectly, just a hair high. So what I'm going to do, this first thing I'm going to do is just put a little bit of flux on each side of that. And then I'm going to put a little solder on the end of my iron. And I'm going to grab a hold of this with a screwdriver. And I'm going to hold it down and run that in there. Oops, get a little more on the rail. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now, we'll do the same thing on the other side. But this one's got to, you can see here, it's got to go out just a hair. So I'm going to hold it out. Oops, I didn't flux it, so let's hope I have enough on here. That should do her. Uh-oh, I pushed her out a bit, so hang on. Right there. Okay, so of course you always feel it with your fingers to make sure everything is good. And use a gauge on it, double check it. And the next thing, of course, is to run your wheels over it. And feel to see if there's any humps or bumps or anything like that. And that is looking and feeling really good. We should be able to run trains across there and have no issues at all. So let me finish soldering this down, and then I will come back to show you the last little step we need to do. Okay, you can see where she's all soldered down. So we just pull the jig off. There we go. And then there's that last little step is we have to file the inside of these just a smidgen. Make sure there are no sharp edges on the inside. Let me do it this way to be easier. There, you can see there's just a little bit of a chamfer there, just like when you do on a guardrail. So there we are. There is a module all soldered up. Once I get the wires in that thing, then she's ready to go. So I guess until the next time, thank you so much for watching. And again, I hope this helps. Bye for now.